4933.
Immigration, minimum wage, a lot of decisions have to be made over the next few months, and elections just happened. And hopefully you got out there and you voted to, again, to make your voice heard. That's why we're talking with Paul Miller of the Paulie Group, who's always a great resource around these legislative updates. Paul, thanks for joining us again on Get Down to Business.
Hey, glad to be here, my friend. How are you?
Awesome. I mean, watching with bated breath with regarding the issues facing our state and our country. We've got a veto session going on in Springfield, a new governor about to take office. We've got Republicans about to take over the Senate in Washington. Paulie, what's your take on all this?
Well, first of all, usually after an election, you have this honeymoon period. I'm sure it's something that, your listeners are familiar with. Everyone kind of gets along for a little while. We all sing Kumbaya and all that. No, not this time around. None of that happened, of course. I guess let's start with the state of Illinois. Obviously, the big win by Bruce Rauner. But what Rauner has to contend with right now is the fact that Speaker Madigan did not lose any seats in the House. So both the Speaker as well as Senate President Cullerton have veto-proof majorities. So right now, Governor Rauner, or I should say Governor-elect Rauner, legislation that he signs can be vetoed by the House or the Senate, depending on the legislation. So he's going to have to find ways to work with the Senate leader as well as obviously the Speaker of the House, Mike Madigan, who really still is the most powerful figure in the House, or I should say in the state. And there's a lot that is now coming down. I mean, before we even get into minimum wage, the first thing that's going to even be more pressing is the fact that on Friday the courts nullified the pension reform bill. So right now, a Sangamon County Circuit Court judge said that the law that was passed in almost a year ago, I think it was December of last year, to help put maybe pension reform on the right track, is going to be null and void at the moment because it apparently was unconstitutional. Attorney General Lisa Madigan is going to have that appeal fast-tracked, and it will be going to the state Supreme Court probably sooner than later. So that's one thing that's a huge, huge financial burden that they're going to have to deal with. Are they going to have to come up with a new bill? Is this bill that's in current form going to ultimately be approved by the Supreme Court?
I just want to jump in, and I think that Governor-elect Rauner will work well. That's my take. I think he will work well with the legislative leaders, Democrats, even though not of the same party. I think that for the most part, and I've said this to a lot of my friends, Speaker Madigan is a moderate Democrat. And where Governor Quinn was a more liberal, a more progressive Democrat, I think that Madigan and Rauner actually will see eye to eye on more things than most people will expect. And I think that they will actually pass bills.
Well, I think what you're going to see is the fact that Speaker Madigan is not a far-left Democrat at all. He is a term that's been described him over the years, that he's a business Democrat. The problem is, and you and I may not agree on this, is that the Speaker is more about power than anything else. Mm-hmm. And you can't argue that he's been doing for the past decades, it hasn't worked. The state is in absolute economic shambles. What we have to hope is that he'll see the light. He'll see a guy like Governor-elect Rauner, who, let's face it, has had immense success as a businessman, as a leader, for creating jobs. Can the two of them put power aside and put together the notion of we got to fix Illinois?
I sure hope so. Paul, I want to save, we've got about 2 minutes remaining. I want to hear a little bit more about what's going on in Washington.
Well, obviously, as you were talking earlier about the immigration bill, that's the first thing. That's going to be on everyone's mind and still going to be dominating conversations. My guess, really, probably till the end of the year, and even past the new year. The question is what the president doing? Is it legal? It's something that I think the courts will eventually be hearing. He's going to be taken to court on it. It has the decision he's made regarding immigration. Does it have legal standing? The president right now is saying that other presidents have done that. Well, that's not exactly correct. What other presidents have done is they have followed the lead of Congress. The president here has not done this. He keeps saying that the Congress needs to do something, needs to create a bill. But what he's not telling you also is the fact that every time Congress for the past so many years has been putting bills together, they fall dead in the Senate. Speaker Harry Reid, or I should say, Senate Leader Speaker Harry Reid, or House Leader Reid, House Leader Reid has always let these bills die. So, there, as you like to say, there's two sides to every issue.
There sure are.
It's
Paulie,
dominating the conversation.
Paulie, the big question is, Republicans now in the leadership of the House and the Senate. Last time that happened, it didn't work out very well. They lost it, perhaps because they weren't able to find again that way to collaborate and that way to work together. 1 second answer: do you think it's going to work?
No.
No. Okay. Well, yeah, you're being honest. We got 2 years. We got a Democratic president. We've got Republicans in the leadership of the House and the Senate. We've got presidential elections that, for all practical purposes, have already started, and it's going to be fascinating to see. Always a pleasure talking with Paul Miller. Paul, how can people get a hold of you if they want to learn more about the work that you're doing?
PaulieGroup.com, P-A-U-L-I-E Group.com.
Be sure, get in touch with Paulie. He's a treasure chest of information. And as always, we want to check in with you over the next few weeks to see how things are going. See if your predictions hold true. Once again, we're talking with Get Down to Business. We're going to be talking with Zach Kubek of Wave. Keep listening.